let me a quick tidbit on why I say alternate everything with the right hand. If you play this instrument long enough, and long enough basically means 6 months to a year, you're gonna get blisters, and then you're gonna get calluses, and your finger is gonna be very hard in a spot. You don't want to just do everything with one finger, and then you eventually start sliding this second finger in, and because you didn't build the same callus on this second finger, they sound different. So you want to do that up and down, up and down. And I always do these with a metronome. Start around 40 or 50 BPMs, quarter note, and work your way up till you find your limit. So I just started on D. Here we go. All I'm doing is playing B flat arpeggio, B major arpeggio, C major arpeggio, then to a pentatonic lick. So fast. Yeah, so that's chromaticism in a nutshell of like of ways to implement into your playing. Not as far as like soloing wise. Hey, I'm chromatically on the super Locrian, blah blah blah. No, we're not speaking that way. We're speaking just of ways to enhance your bass grooves and your bass lines as far as bass playing goes. Next week, I want to talk about dun, 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 the pentatonic scale, man. Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Ray Bradford, and this is Scatterbrain, the Ray Bradford podcast. Back to you for another episode. Uh, I want to thank everybody who's been in tune with these bass lesson videos and watching these videos. Uh, Seems that these are more valid than than the podcast content that we were doing, but I like to consider this part of the podcast too. We gonna do a season of this for sure, for sure. And I don't know how long that season may be. It may be 12 episodes, maybe 24 episodes. I don't know, but we're gonna do a good number of episodes. I'm planning on bringing people in soon, bringing some extra bass, bringing some bass player friends, bringing some music director friends, keyboard friends, guitar friends, basically just other instrumentalists, and see what I want as even as well as I'm giving tips on and lessons on how to play stuff. I want to give tips on how to interact with other instrumentalists, other musicians around you, uh, and so you know can know what different type of players look for in bass players. Because some drummers like just solid bass players. They don't want you to do nothing. But some drummers want you to step out. Some keyboard players like you to be harmonically rich so you can change chord tones and stuff like that. You know how to substitute bass notes and stuff. And then some keyboardists just want you strictly on the root notes. You know what I'm saying? Root notes and fifths. Some guitar players like to double what we want to be locked in double what each other doing. But some guitar players like to shred and want you to shred with it. So it's all taste, but I want everybody to get a perspective of that. So be looking forward to that. But again, I want to thank everybody who's been watching these videos, who's been tuned in, who's been locked in. I appreciate you. You make me feel like what I'm doing is worthwhile. What I'm doing is worthwhile. It's gonna grow. It's gonna continue to grow. It's only gonna get better because I actually like teaching bass. Is it the most conventional way of teaching bass? No, it's not the most conventional way. But I like teaching bass, and I like to see people who take lessons from me or learn from me. I love to see them improve and get better. So it's only gonna get better with the more reaction you give me. Let me know if this anything I'm telling you is helping you. Is if you're able to take it and use it, if you're able to do anything with it, let me know. That would give me more of an inside scoop on what's what's working and what's not working with the with you all. So I know how to teach with you all. But yeah, keep me posted on that. If you use any concept I give out, please let me know how it works for you. Um, this is the third episode. So the first episode we kind of talked about right hand positioning and scales. We didn't talk about all the skills. We talked about them. We didn't go in depth with the skills, but we skimmed the surface level of it. Unfortunately, let me give a disclaimer too. Unfortunately, this is not a series for beginners. Like if you're an absolute beginner on bass, this may not be the series for you. This is like you got some knowledge of the bass and you can play a little bit. This is for you. This is for you. I'm sorry. I'm gonna eventually make a roundabout and go back and tag stuff for beginners at the extremely beginning of bass. Uh, but right now, where we're at, the what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word, but where we're going right, the trajectory. That's what the trajectory of where we're going right now. It's more along the lines of people who already are intermediate, maybe some in between intermediate expert, pro. Between those, we're in that stages. If you're trying to get from intermediate to expert, then from expert to pro, we're in that stage. Yeah, man. We're gonna drive. Like I said, we talked about scales and hand positioning. And last week we talked about arpeggios, and how they're you how I like to use them because it just shortens the scale of the neck. The longer scale bass. I have a Yamaha TRB 6 that I love to play. Uh, and that Joker is a long scale bass. It's a pretty long scale. It's probably a 3 octave bass, a 4 octave bass, 3 or 4. I want to say 3, because this bass is one, one, two. Yeah, this is only like a 2 octave bass, but that TRB is like a 3 octave, maybe a little longer than 3 octaves. So in those type of basses, arpeggios mixed with certain like pentatonic scales and stuff, it just shortens the neck. You don't look at the neck and it looks so long. So we talked about that last week. This week I want to talk about chromaticism. Now, when I'm mentioning these concepts, don't think of it as like a jazz theory way of the concept of like, because it's concepts in jazz theory about chromaticism. You know what I'm saying? Don't think of it that way. Just think of it as a tool to enhance your bass playing. So if you're playing lines, bass lines, grooves, something to enhance those things, think of it as that as a tool. So don't think of it as a broad, because like even with scales, scale chord relationships and stuff like that, and arpeggios and all these things. Once you get deep into those things have a very broad concept, or not even, you can say broad, but sometimes it's a specific concept of like it's used in this way over this thing. Don't think of it like that. Just think of it as a tool that you could apply to your bass playing, as far as bass grooves, bass lines, soloing, just something to put in your trick bag so it makes your bag deeper. All right, so let's get into it, man. And the funny thing is, when me saying that, I know I said this isn't for beginners, but the first concept we're gonna go over of chromaticism is something that I show everybody who picks the bass up. So it's a chromatic exercise, which basically you're just gonna use fingers 1. I don't want to flip people off, so finger 2, finger 3, finger 4. You're gonna play them consecutively, and you're gonna alternate with the right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2. And you're gonna do it on all strings. So I'm playing a 5-string bass. So if you have a 4, you just do it on your all 4 strings. You'll start on your high G and go down to your low E. And then if you have a 5-string, you start on high G and go down to your low B. And if you have a 6-string, you start on your high C and go to your low B. Of course, I'm naming if you tune standard. Now, if you don't tune standard, just start on your high string and go to your low string. You got a 7-string bass, you start on your high C and go down to your low F sharp. Now, everything after that, you're overdoing it. You got more strings than 7, you overdoing it. Go be a guitar player. Go play flamenco guitar or something, or steel guitar or something. That's just my opinion. No, I'm just playing, man. Those guys are killers too. They do all the tapping. They do all that stuff, man. So they are killers too. So, like I said, this chromatic exercise starts on fret 12. You always know where fret 12 is when you're on the bass because of the double dots. Any bass you pick up, wherever you see the double dots, that is fret 12. And basically, fret 12 starts the bass over. It's the simplest way that I can describe it. So that's a low B. That's a low open B. That's B. Woo, I need to get my bass set up, man. But that's a B too. So that's a B. Open B, and this is the octave. It just starts the bass over. So you got B, E, A, D, G, and it starts over here. B, E, A, E, G. Starts over. So we're going to go, ooh, I'm sorry I did that into the mic, anybody that's listening. We start first finger on fret 12, and we're going to go 12, 13, 14, 15, consecutively. This is a chromatic exercise for us to build strength in the left hand and coordination with the left and right so they can learn to hit together. So at first, I tell everybody just stay on the G string. Once you master the G string, we start moving. But this is how you know you've mastered the G string. If you listen to what I was doing, no note cut off. No note cut off. Every note rang until the next note. Every note. So if you listen, G, A flat, A, B flat, they all ring until the next note. So that builds strength in your left hand. And that's what we're looking for. You have to leave each finger down. Leave each finger down, if you can see. Leave each finger down. And I didn't alternate right hand right then if you look. So, see, I didn't have to even look down to know. I just felt it. I didn't alternate. Look at that. And see, now boom. And you want to keep a perfect C. Perfect C. I tell everybody, pick up a cup, a water bottle, and hold it. See how I'm holding that? I should be able to take this out, my hand, and put the bass in my hand, and it's the same way. Take a water bottle, a cup, put it in your hand. Let me tighten this just so no water come out. Turn it sideways like a bass or a guitar. C. Now you look, I have a C. See, I have a C right there. You looking, I have a C. Anybody on the camera that can see? Look. I have a C. I can take that out, leave my hand the same way, put the neck of the bass in my hand, and it's the same thing. It's the same thing. And the concept is a finger per fret in that way with that C. So if you look again, and don't let any finger do that. You don't want your fingers to collapse like that. You don't want your joints to collapse like that. You want your joints to stay up. So that means if you got a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever you got, whatever your persuasion is, have them hold your finger as you do it, and have them do that there. So you can't collapse that. You can't collapse that hold, and you can't let that up. And then they hold his finger, so you can't let it up. You can't let it up. And that's an exercise that I like to start people off with. And so you're going 1, 2, 1, 2, then start on 1, 2, 1, 2, start over 1, 2. And then once you master it on the G string, we take it and we move it to every string on the bass. I'm gonna play it a little faster for the sake of time. So we eventually want to get to where we max out. Where we play it clean, maxed out. And once you get there, you've mastered that exercise. But every note, the goal is how you know you mastered whatever tempo you're doing. No note cuts off. Every note rings to the next note plays. Now, why am I stressing every note rings to the next one plays? Because you can hear people. I grew up playing in church. I started playing bass in church when I was about 13, 14. So say you have somebody playing shout music and they're going. Now, I can play it like that intentionally, but some people you hear play it like that, they don't play. They don't play the notes long together. So listen again. Listen to that. So that's one way. And this is the other way. So those are two different ways. And one of them, I can do one intentionally. So if I want the effect. So now I can dig in. So that's what you can learn the difference. So make sure you can get it, your strength in your left hand to where it's able to, you can, whenever you want to, you can switch to the other. I learned a lot of that playing in church and in jazz, because I was in jazz band in middle school and stuff, but I paid attention to that in jazz band. So even if I was just going, I wanted everything to connect. So if I'm playing a blues line, well, jazz blues. So you want everything to connect. So now when you put articulation on it, it's intentional and you don't sound like somebody who just didn't practice enough or doesn't have the actual strength in their left hand. They may be strong up here, up here and everything, but they don't have the strength in their actual hand. So again, that exercise is on the 12th fret, which is G, starting on G. And then again, I'm speeding it up for time's sake right now, but start super slow, around 40 to 50 BPMs, quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I'm speeding it up for time's sake, but do that, start that. And that is a chromatic exercise that will change your life. That chromatic exercise changed my life. And from just that regular, then I started going. Because I'm a really, bass is a percussive instrument anyway. But I'm a really percussive player. You can do slap percussive. Woo! That feel good. I didn't expect that to feel that good, but that feel good. You got that type of slap, which is like more of the Larry Graham slap. But then you got more of the modern age slap, which is the well. Anyway, whatever you're doing all that. You're doing the up, the down, and up strokes. You're doing that. That's another way of percussive. But then I'm very percussive off of fingering, and what helped get me there was doing. Ooh. So then I could do that very fast on that. So when I got to so now my right hand is used to moving like that, and then I just had to learn how to put my peaks and valleys in with my left hand on the notes. That just helps. So these are little foundations that, before you know it, help your playing in every way, that I suggest to everybody who picks the bass up. And especially if you're trying to be a working musician. Let's not say a professional, just a working musician. You want to be able to maneuver however you need to maneuver. If you need to play a jazz gig, you need to play a rock gig, you need to play hip hop gig, funk gig, whatever, or a gig that incorporates all those in there. You need to be able to do any of those. And stuff like that chromatic exercise that I showed you helps that a ton. Uh, Another chromatic exercise that I want to do is the actual chromatic scale. It's the actual chromatic scale. Uh, and again, it's a finger per fret exercise. A finger per fret. A finger per fret. So I'm gonna do the B chromatic scale. So that's gonna be from low open B to high B on the G string. In that instance, I'm not playing anything past fret 4. So if you're looking, I'm not playing anything past fret 4. So that means everything in fret 1 is going to be played with finger 1. Everything in fret 2 is going to be played with finger 2. Everything in fret 3 is going to be played with finger 3. Everything in fret 4 is going to be played with finger 4. If you're watching this, you just seeing each finger go in there, but that'll be index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky, and we're alternating everything with the right hand. A quick tidbit on why I say alternate everything with the right hand. If you play this instrument long enough, and long enough basically means 6 months to a year, you're gonna get blisters, and then you're gonna get calluses, and your finger is gonna be very hard in a spot. You don't want to just do everything with one finger, and then you eventually start sliding this second finger in, and because you didn't build the same callus on this second finger, they sound different. So my third and fourth finger don't have a callus. Ooh, this is gonna be. You're gonna have to really listen to pay attention to this, but you'll hear a difference between my first finger and my third finger, because my third finger don't have a. When I strum with my first finger, it has a callus, so it's gonna sound a certain way. But with my third finger, it doesn't have a callus. It's gonna sound different. The skin is very soft on that one, but this first finger, the skin is hard. So watch this. And listen, that's first finger, and here's the third finger. It's thinner. I'm gonna try to play it in the same spot. Third finger, First finger. Ah, third finger, first finger. It's just, you see, it's more strength in this first finger, and it's a different callus on there. So it's different tonalities. You have to really be in tune with that to pay it to catch that. But that is a thing. That is a thing. And bass players who are really studied, they know that thing. When they can hear it, they can hear it. My first person I ever heard catch it was my bass professor, Dr. Marcus Machado, when I was in USM. This was in like 2008, 2009. He was like, yeah, your second finger doesn't have enough callus. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? Then I paid attention to it, like, oh, that's true. So that's why I say alternate everything in your practicing. So when you get on stage, you may have a habit of not alternating things. And that's just what it is on stage. But at least in the practice room, you're alternating. And you're doing that. And then sooner or later, it'll carry over to the stage and you'll alternate everything. But alternate everything. And it just helps you play faster. I don't know many people that can play fast. I know one person actually that plays super fast with one finger. His name is Nathaniel Henson. And he plays extremely fast and extremely clean with one finger. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Nate technique, I don't know how he does it, but Nate is the greatest bass player in Mississippi to me. And his technique is nothing about what I'm showing you. He can play circles around me, and he has, like, the wildest technique. But, yeah, anyway. So, again, back to the B chromatic scale. Finger per fret. Finger 1 on fret 1, finger 2 on fret 2, finger 3 on fret 3, finger 4 on fret 4. So any string you're on, that's going to be the case. And we're going to start with open B. And so you're going to play the open string of each string. So that'll be open B and finger 1. Then open again on E. Then open again on A. Then open again on D. Then open again on G. And that's the B chromatic scale. You want to do that up and down. Up and down. And I always do these with a metronome. Start around 40 or 50 BPMs, quarter note, and work your way up till you find your limit. Play one more time so you can hear it and see it. Now, beginner bass players, if you're a beginner or intermediate bass player, it's going to hurt at first because your hand isn't used to being spread like that, especially that low. It's going to hurt, but it's a good pain. It's a good pain. And if you feel a lot of tension, always stop, let your hand down, shake the blood back into it, take you about a 5-minute break. 5-minute break to let your bloods get back to circulating everything, get back cool, then get back after it. A lot of times with these exercises, you can do them 30 minutes a day. 30 minutes a day will be effective. Now, in college, I did these exercises for hours. Hours. That's why I can play it so fast. I could play it faster than that, but I'm not going to play it faster than that. But I did these for hours. Hours. But if you do 30 minutes a day, I'll guarantee over 2 to 3 months, you'll see a big improvement, and it'll become natural to you. It'll be in your ear. It'll be ingrained in your ear, and you can hear it. Cause I know a lot of people ask like, man, how y'all know how to do certain stuff when you playing bass or you playing songs? And I always say, uh, uh, man, you just know it after you've heard it so much, you just know that that's what it is, that's what it's doing. Um, so like if I hear anybody do like in our welcome song at the church I play, we do a lick. It's just chromatic. When he was showing it to us and I heard it, I was like, I just need to know what note it starts on. And I knew it was chromatic. So you'll hear certain things, you'll start to pick it up. And the more you do it, the more you do. When you hear that, even if you hear fast, I know that's a arpeggio. I know that's an arpeggio. So the more and more you do these exercises, you'll hear them. So now, a trick I want to show you about that B chromatic scale. You could, if I changed it to C chromatic scale. If you notice, if you look at, I said every note you start on the open note, and then you have 4 frets. So altogether, that's 5 notes per string, right? If you count open B, C, C sharp, D, E flat, that's 5 notes per string. So say I changed it to C chromatic scale. I'm gonna play 5 notes per string again, right? So that means I would play 5 frets. I would play the first 5 frets again. I mean, not again, but this time. So if I start on C, fret 1, then I'm gonna shift finger 1 over to fret 2, which is C sharp, and then play the next 4 frets all the way to E. But E is with my pinky. E is with my pinky. And then I'm gonna shift back down to finger 1 on F of the next string. And then shift 1 up. Then shift back down to finger 1 on the next string. Then shift up. Then shift back down. Then shift up. Shift back down. Then shift up. And that's C chromatic scale. So any chromatic scale I wanted to play, I would just look at it as 5 notes on each string. That's how I simplify it. Now, is that the best simplified way? I couldn't tell you. But how I simplify it is, it's just 5 notes on each string. C chromatic scale. If I want to do G chromatic scale, now mind you, I'm not going to be able to go G to G because I don't have enough. I don't have another string. I would have to shift to get to this G, or I would have to play it. Yeah, or I would have to shift to get to this G. But I'm not going to shift. I'm just going to play everything in this box. So it needs 5 frets here from G to B. G to B, C to E, F to A, B flat to D. I'm just going to play everything in that box. And if you notice, I'm doing the same thing. Finger 1 on the first note, then shift, play the next 4 notes on the string, then shift back down, shift. Same thing. Same thing that I did on the C chromatic scale. So once you learn, bass and guitar are symmetrical. Guitar, not as much because of the top 2 strings. Well, yeah, even with the top 2 strings, it's symmetrical. So once you learn something one way in one position, it's the same everywhere unless you want to do a different fingering. So whatever fingering you learn, it's the same wherever. It's the same wherever on the bass. Say I want to play let me do A chromatic here on fret 12. That's achromatic. That's achromatic. It's achromatic, man. It's achromatic. And the same fingering. One, shift over. Next 4 frets, shift back down. Shift over. Shift back down. Shift over. And that's achromatic. So wherever you are on the bass, once you learn the fingering, apply it everywhere. Unless you want to do a different finger. So like, it's a different fingering for the chromatic scale, but that's my favorite fingering for. Like I showed you the arpeggios. I showed you the arpeggios the other week. That fingering is everywhere. It persists everywhere. That is a major triad. Arpeggiating it. Wherever I want to do now, I could do another finger. I could do that finger. What's another one? I can do that one where I shift. I can do that one, or I could do. But long as once you learn that whatever fingering I'm doing, it applies everywhere on the bass. So with this fingering that I just showed you of the chromatic scale, it's gonna apply everywhere. Now we did starting on your B string, you're able to do 2 octave chromatic scales. Now when you get to your E string, they're not 2 octaves per se. You may do an octave and a half or an octave to the 5th. An octave to the 5th. And it shortens with once you go up every string. So if I'm doing it from A, I may just be able to do an octave. I'm on my A string with C. Boom. Boom. It's the same. Now, from your D and G string, I wouldn't do it. But from B to A, I would play chromatic scales. And then those scales, you're able to apply those in playing. So let's say we're in G. Let me find the groove. Yeah. There we go. Here we go. So I did play all those notes. It sound like, man, he's going for so long. But I literally just played a chromatic scale all the way up here. And then I did a pentatonic pattern on the way down. I forgot which pentatonic pattern I did on the way down, but I just did a pentatonic pattern. So here we go. And I just did pentatonic scale all the way down. You have those opportunities. You have those opportunities to enhance your bass playing on grooves. So let's say we doing that same groove in but I don't want to do explicit chromatic scale. And you don't have to start it on G in the key of wherever key you're in. I could have started it on D and figured out a way down. Let's do that one first before I do something else. I want to show you that you can start it on any note. Because I'm going to start on D and then just find my way into a pentatonic pattern back down to G. Here we go. Here we go. starting on D. And of course I'm hammering on to get back. I'm doing some hammer on to get back. But look. And I'm using the finger. And I'm just doing that. And I'm alternating everything with the right hand. So when you do these scales, you can keep in mind, don't jump into it and try to change the finger from whatever finger that you've already learned. Keep the finger the same. So even when I was doing it on G, notice I'm doing the same finger. 1, shift over, next 4 frets. 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 And then I'm starting my pentatonic stuff. And then if I start on G, on D, it's still 1, move over. Boom. That's literally the concept. And when a lot of people, they would hear that and think you're doing something hard or complicated or complex. I'm not doing anything complex. All I'm doing is playing a lot of notes. I'm just playing a lot of notes. That's it. That's it. Those are concepts that can enhance your bass playing. But say you wanted to do a chromatic figure, not the full chromatic scale. But say we've gotten the chromatic scale down, now we want to break it up into figures. Here we go. So all I'm doing is I'm starting on D. So now I've changed the finger in a little bit. I know I told you don't change the finger, but I'm changing the finger in a little bit now. Because I'm not leaving it to the 5 frets now. So I'm going. This is an extra one. It is, and it's pretty much chromatic. Those right here takes the chromaticism out, then I'm back into the chromaticism right here. I'm out a little bit, and then I'm back into chromaticism. Simple concepts. That's what music is built on. We love to hear, man, I'm one of the biggest Jacob Collier fans ever. I'm one of the biggest Corey Henry fans ever. I'm one of the biggest Snarky Puppy Weather Reports. We love complexity. We love it. We love it. But what makes those dudes so complex is that the simple concepts and foundations they have, and you can't shake that, and they just build upon that. So when they can do the simple stuff, it expands the complex stuff. And boom. Here we go. And that could be something that could, if you're playing with a good band, they all catch that, and that's a unison thing. So it's little stuff like that that sound it makes it sound complex, but it's really simple concepts that we need to grasp. And one more thing that I want to talk about, well, two more things that I want to talk about. So we talked about arpeggios last week. You can do those chromatically as well and sound out when adding them to your your playing, your bass lines, your bass groove. So that same groove. See, I want to play everything slow and understandable, and it feels good. Here we go. Boom. And I'm starting on B flat. End it with a pentatonic thing. So I'm for the sake of these exercises, I'm always going to end with something pentatonic, just so it's understandable where we're at. If for the ear, it's understandable. So again. Here we go. So you got to shift down again, of course. All I'm doing is playing B flat arpeggio, B major arpeggio, C major arpeggio, then to a pentatonic lick. Here we go. One more time. It's little things, little concepts, man. So fast. And this little stuff, I got a little tired there at the end. Got a little tired, but yeah, man, those concepts, man. So don't think I'm showing you licks. Don't take those as licks. They aren't licks, they're concepts. Honestly, they're licks. But I want the new phrase. I hate when people, man, show me some hot tasty licks and all this stuff. I hate that. So let's name them concepts. Because these aren't things that I want you to take verbatim and just do them verbatim. I want you to take them, enhance them, and make them your own. Because all I did was take them from somebody and make it my own. You know what I'm saying? That's all I did. So I want you to do the same thing. And even with practicing those arpeggios chromatically, so all I'm doing is, when I'm doing this, I'm playing the regular finger that I showed you, and then I'm shifting to the chromatically to the next one. So if I'm doing C, I'm gonna shift to C sharp, then shift to D. Same finger. I'm not taking my hand off the bass. Victor Wooten called that economy of motion. You know, I think that's what he called it, and it's basically the less movement as possible. If I don't have to take my hand off the bass, I'm not taking my hand off the bass, and it creates less ringing. I have to worry about less string muting. I have to worry about everything. It's just set. And then you can start doing with your right hand. You can do eighth notes first, then then triplets, then 16 notes. And if you want to do 30 seconds and all that stuff, you can add that stuff in there too. If you can do 30 seconds, you're a bad man. I can't do 30 seconds. But a bad man or woman on this playing bass. But these are concepts, man, that we need to, again, once you get them in your vocabulary and your vernacular, it just becomes second nature, and it's a second language that we can all pick up on and play. And people don't have to explain what's going on unless, sometimes it's hard to hear stuff. I will say that. Sometimes it's hard to hear stuff. But if, for the most part, you better pick up on it and catch it. Yeah, so that's chromaticism in a nutshell of like of ways to implement into your playing. Not as far as like soloing wise, like, hey, I'm chromatically on the super Locrian, blah blah blah. No, we're not speaking that way. We're speaking just of ways to enhance your bass grooves and your bass lines as far as bass playing goes. Next week, I want to talk about dun, 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 the pentatonic scale, man. Something that we've all heard and used this in all type of music. So I want to talk about that, man, and dive in that and bass playing and how I use it and as you can see, I use it to end stuff if I need to. So I play out and then I just come back home to a pentatonic thing. But that's the next thing that I want to talk about next week. And with your right, what I just showed you at the end, do that more with your right hand so your right hand is more fluid. I need to get my left hand as fluid as my right hand is. It used to be, but it's not anymore. I fractured and some stuff. No excuses. But yeah. So next week, be tuned in for that. Again, this is Scatterbrain, the Ray Bradford podcast. I am Ray Bradford. Like I always tell you, find your grandmama, your granddaddy, your mama, your daddy, your brother, your sister, your auntie, your uncle, your cousin, your boo, your bae, your lover, your son, your daughter, your niece, your nephew, whatever they is, till you find